how's it going, guys? This is just gonna be a little like before the coaching session part of this video. There was a part of the coaching session where we went and edited the list that Wonka started with, and changed it up a little bit to change kind of the purpose of its tech cards. But during the stream, I mismanaged my OBS, and so it didn't actually record like his collection, his point of view when we were talking about changing cards. So it was just like the blank Hearthstone screen for about 15 minutes. Um, Instead of keeping that in the VOD, I've decided to cut that out, and I'm just going to put this in the beginning. So this was the list which we started out with. It was the Vicious Syndicate Report number 131 Even Warlock list. Um, Most likely the last Vicious Syndicate report before the new cards come out, and it's pretty standard. We went in and we took out all the tech cards and figured out like what to replace them with, and the list that we came up with that differed from this was this instead. So essentially, from the standard list, we switched out Bone Mare for an Argent Commander because they fulfill similar roles in giving either burst damage or Bone Mare's there to like in the late game give your little threats like Sun Fury, Beetle, Ooze a little bit more oomph. Um, but in our list we run less Beetles. Sun Fury, it could use the Bone Mare buff, but it's okay. We opted to choose Argent Commander because it pushes the same amount of like face damage. Because technically Bone Mare is 4 burst and Argent Commander is 4 burst, even though Bone Mare, buffs a minion, so it gets bigger. Um, it's also good in conjunction with stuff like Defile and Hellfire because you can, kill a wide board with one of those, and then you can Argent Commander if something bigger was on that board. Um, so that's why we chose that. We decided to keep Double Spellbreaker, which is, kind of questionable, but, it seemed fairly innocuous. It didn't really matter. Spellbreaker's a pretty strong card. Even Warlock has a lot of slots to work with. We put in one Demonic Project to help with Combo Disruption, and we put in one Spirit Bomb to help with the Odd Rogue matchup with Hench Clan Thug. Spirit Bomb in the Rogue matchup can like single-handedly turn your early game from a very losing position to an incredibly like even or in your favor position. And then we kept a plated Beetle in. There originally were 2. Typically this would be a Gnome Feratu, but he did not have, and it's almost expansion time, so there's no reason to craft cards really. He didn't want to craft an Gnome but this is what I would consider a more, standard um, even Warlock. What it is missing that the original list had is Dread Infernals. Dread Infernals, as a good one of, it helps your Blood Reaver Gul'dan have a little bit more power to it. It helps the Odd Paladin matchup, which is cool, and then the 1 damage AoE can sometimes, impact other things. But I think aside, if you weren't going to run this list, um, the only thing that I would consider is like a Spellbreaker for a Dread Infernal, maybe 2 for 2, something like that. But I just wanted to put this in. In the video, there's going to be a cut, so just be wary of that. It's probably going to be poorly edited in, but the time that was cut out is just us going through his deck and deciding how to change it up, because the standard list, which I kind of tore apart a second ago, it runs no form of Combo Disruption, which if you're going to be playing Even Warlock, it's the only deck in the game at this point which has in-hand Combo Disruption for Druid, Shudderwock Shaman, stuff like that. And I think if you're running Even Warlock without any form of disruption, then you're doing it wrong. So, yeah, just wanted to put that in there. Enjoy the rest of the video. Shouldn't be delayed, so it should start up real quick now. Yeah, sweet. Alright. So now let's get into a call with this boy. This push. Okay, this is push talk. Good to know. Discord has no sound. Hey, how's it going, man?
Yo,
Sup, dude? How you doing?
good. Good hear you. No.
Let me try and boost my mic if I can.
Yeah, I think I'm turning you all the way up.
Let's see, is that any better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Alright, cool. Awesome. So let me get into Hearthstone, and then we'll just start this out. Typically, the way that we start is you're on a computer right now, right? Not your phone for Discord.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on my MacBook. Yeah.
All right, cool. So what is the easiest way to do it normally is we'll screen share on Discord so I can see your collection and then the list that you're using to start out with. Um, we'll just look at what you're starting out with. We'll do a couple games with that, and then we'll go back in and see how we can change it up.
Sounds good.
All right. So yeah, once my Hearthstone's up and not gonna crash, then we'll screen share to see what you're starting out with. We'll just hop into some games, and then that seems to
Yeah.
be the best way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
All right, I'm good when you are.
Um, so turn on switch.
Yep.
So share screen or window, right? Because you want to see everything.
You can do
Or just
whichever.
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone's fine.
Okay. I think I clicked it.
Um,
I'm clicking.
Here, can you see mine right now?
Yeah, I can see yours.
All right, so on Discord, if you go into this little button, there should just be like a Stream Hearthstone button, because it should recognize that you have it open.
I don't see where you're clicking.
Oh wait, what the hell? Oh, that's mine. Okay. Let me
I
do
can try to
this. Here,
share
one sec.
screen or window.
Change window.
Because then it gives me an option. Application.
Here we go. Now you can see my screen, right? Like everything.
Yeah, yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, so right here, when you click this button, there should be something that's like Stream Hearthstone or choose entire window.
Yeah, I've been clicking the stream Hearthstone one, but it doesn't seem to be working. So if you want, I
That's
can
really
just share screen. Share screen.
Okay, that works.
Okay.
It'll pop up this screen. You have to click this to outline the entire screen, otherwise it'll just not let you share. It's a little bit weird. So,
Do it again. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
no worries. So, when you click do entire screen, it'll show you this. You have to actually click this and then click share,
Oh,
otherwise it doesn't work.
gotcha. Gotcha.
There we go.
You see me now?
Yep. So,
Okay.
let's hop into Hearthstone. Alright. So yeah, let's head into your collection and see what we're starting out with. Oh, okay. You actually just this is the list off of the newest Vicious Syndicate, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I used this as a reference earlier for one of the videos.
Yeah, yeah. I just
So
put a Vicious Syndicate and just kind of copy paste, and then I had to craft. I think I was missing just like a few cards, so I crafted it.
cool.
So,
Yeah, no, this is a good starter list. This is totally fine. Do you have much experience with Even Warlock or not?
um, well, I crafted it last week, maybe I don't know, 10 days ago, and I've been just playing a little bit of casual, playing it. So a little bit, a week, and a little bit, yeah.
Okay,
Just
cool.
haven't jumped into ranked yet because I want to at least get a good idea of how to approach things first before I jump into ranked.
For sure. All right. So we're just gonna start with this list. We'll play a couple games and see how they go. This list I have a lot of criticisms about. So once we do a couple games, we can go in and talk about how we can change it up. But for now, it's good.
All right, jump in.
Yep, just hop on in, and then I'm actually gonna spectate you through my client. So if you want, you can turn off your screen share until we have to
Okay.
go back.
Okay, I'll turn off screen share.
Oh, actually, I do have you added. Never mind.
Yeah, you should have me added up.
Yeah. All right. So hold off on your mulligan until I get in, because
Yeah,
the
yeah.
spectate client's really slow.
No worries.
But yeah, no, I'm glad you chose Even Warlock. Even Warlock is it's one of the decks that I use to get to Legend this season, so I feel pretty
Nice.
experienced with it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, just my highest is 13, rank 13. So if I can get just 12 or 10, that'd be awesome.
Hey,
Just
no
eventually,
worries.
if I just learn a little bit.
All right. So let's see what we're starting out with. We're against Hunter. So typically, Hunter's going to be Death Rattle Hunter, which is a semi-hard matchup for us. Um, what do you think about the cards in your opening hand?
Well, I like Mountain Giant usually, and then I like the Spellstone.
I'm
So
I'm okay with that too. Hellfire's a definite throwaway.
yeah,
Spellstone is okay. We need an activator for it so that it kills a Devilsaur egg, or not a Devilsaur egg, a Devilsaur that comes from the egg. But that's like our
right.
best answer to a 5/5, so I would keep that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah,
Cool.
I figured Death Runner Hunter, they don't go wide too much. They just kind of play their eggs, and so I didn't think about the hell. I figured throw away the Hellfire. I
Yeah.
should keep Hellfire against like Paladin,
Yep. All right. So we have a really good hand here. It looks like we're just gonna be able to tap into a giant. We already found our activator for our spellstone, so this is a very good start.
Yeah, I was wondering, like when you play first, you don't get the coin. So like, do you just keep doing Mountain Giant, or should I play this taunt? Like, how do you see
It
that?
depends on the situation and what you're going against. Typically, I tried to get my giant as fast as possible, because like this turn he played a 1/1, which isn't super scary, so we can
Right.
afford just to tap, and then next turn we can tap again and play the homunculus.
Gotcha.
This is definitely not the Death Rattle Hunter that I was expecting though, because
Yeah,
he's running
I was gonna
Mecharoo.
say not the usual. Yeah, not the typical
Yeah,
Death
so
Rattle.
this will be a little bit different, but our hand is actually just great. So,
Right. So just tap and play the Vulgar.
yep. Oh, we found a beetle too. That's pretty good.
So next turn I'll play the Giant.
Almost 100% of the time, yeah.
Would you tap first?
Um, Considering he didn't develop anything, yeah, I don't feel too bad going a little low. We have Restore 4 with Shroom Brewer and Restore 5 with Spellstone, so I'm good with tapping here. You do have to be careful against Hunter, because if you get too low, it gets kind of scary, but we have 9 life gain in hand, which can become 11, so...
Okay.
And finding that Defile is like really good for us in case he goes wide.
Right. And then the Skulking Geist I want to play to get rid of his tracking, right? Usually.
Yeah, so typically it gets rid of play deads as well. I'm not sure if he runs those though,
Play
since
Deads, yeah.
he hasn't shown us anything super death rattly.
I say this looks kind of like mid-rangey. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a really weird list. It's kind of cool. All
Right.
right, so what do you
So
think here?
I'm
Talk me through
thinking
your process.
right now. I'm thinking playing the Spellstone onto the taunt and then going face with the Giant. Um, but that's kind of my first thought right now.
Okay. We are at 10 cards, so we can't tap, so that's important to know. I
Right.
think that because you have the Mossy Horror to set up, I think that going Spellstone into the Tar Creeper is great. You don't have to trade into any of his board because Mossy will clean it up next turn, which means you can go 8 face, so I think that that's a pretty good play.
All right.
The only other consideration would be to play either Shroom Brewer on your Giant after you hit, or to play a Twilight Drake. But I think pushing the 8 damage is pretty good because he doesn't have a very scary board at all.
Right. Great. All right. So the Spellstone sounds
Yeah,
good.
I like Spellstone and then hit face. This is a really aggressive line of play, but his board is not threatening at all.
Right. Right.
Hopefully it gets cleared by Mossy Horror. So
Right. I mean, it might be Secret Hunter a little bit since he has that.
well that dies to our Mossy Horror, so that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, just thinking Mossy Horror and then face.
Yep,
Yeah.
seems good to me. So we got rewarded for our like kind of greedy play, because typically we would have expected his Dire Mole to get buffed by like a Houndmaster or something and not die to the Mossy Horror,
Right.
but he he didn't do that, so our Mossy Horror got like incredible value.
Right. Let's see. I'm just thinking of how I
Oh,
put a 2. Oh, were you gonna say something?
yeah. So talk me through this turn. What do you think you're gonna do?
Well, I was thinking going to.
Ooh, you're starting to cut out a little. um, all right. So your audio cut out, but that's okay. It happens. Um, what you can do here is you can get 8 to face and set him to 2. The way that you do that is you Mossy and Discernite Defile. You don't actually have to it's inconsequential. You can defile either way, because the Mekaru Death Rattle will pop out a. You have a 1, and then the Mekaru Death Rattle will count as 2, and then Serenite. But yeah, your play is defile, and then you're gonna hit face for 8, and then you have 5 mana left over to play whatever you want. So yeah, start with defile, hit face for 8, and then basically you can play whatever. I'd probably play a Twilight Drake. Cool. I think we kind of lost you on Discord. It happens. Okay, cool. As long as you can hear me, that's good. Yeah. Hopefully it'll just come back. Sometimes, it happens. Um, are you on Pacific, like West Coast, or are you in like Europe or something? Because I've had issues where if we're like cross continent, that happens a lot. Pacific, okay. Hopefully it'll just come back. Maybe your internet's just being a little weird. Maybe it's my side. I'm not sure. But you won this first game, so that's really strong. If there's anything that you specifically know that you can do to try and fix it, I would take this time to do that. If not, we can just hop into another game, and I can just talk you through it, and you can text chat. Oh yeah, let's try that. What was your name? Soup doo doo doo. Sub. Yeah, so, holding Giant for Post-Gulkengeist against Warrior is typically something that you can do. I don't mind tempoing out the first Giant, because like it requires that he has Shield Slam in hand and that he's accumulated the armor. I assume you're also talking against Odd Warrior. Against typical Warrior, it's not that big of an issue, but against Odd Warrior, I would tempo out the first one unless I have a hard read they have Shield Slam for some reason, and then the second one I would typically wait till post Skulkengeist. Yeah. Alright, hello. Hello. Ooh, it came back a little bit. Oh, it's cutting out. That's unfortunate.
Test.
Hey, I think you're back.
Restarted. Oh, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, you're back. Sweet.
I see on the. Okay. I was
Alright.
just looking at my Discord ping or whatever. It was low, but I guess it's back now.
Yeah,
I think it was a Discord thing.
It might have just been a Discord thing. It happens.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm good to. We'll just jam another game or two with this list, and then we'll go in and talk about how we can change it up. Because this list isn't bad. It's definitely a good starting point, but there's some things that we can change about it. Oh no.
Am I cutting out again?
Yeah, it's coming in and out, but it should be fine. We'll just deal with it. I wonder if there's anything I can. Let me see if there's anything I can close on my side that might help my side. Because who knows, it might be me. Oh, we're against Druid. Alright, so what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I think I know. Alright, so Druid, I think typical Druid. So I don't know. Right now, I feel like throwing it. Maybe everything like set. Maybe Blood Reaver keep it. I don't know.
I think that I'm fine with throwing everything. In this matchup, you're looking for Skulking Geist, Mountain Giant, and Twilight Drake, essentially. Those are like the only 3 cards that matter, because it's most likely a combo druid. Um, in the event that it's not a combo druid, you're looking for Defile and Hellfire and Spellbreaker. So this is a pretty good hand against non-combo druid, and it's not too bad versus any other kind. But so against druid, they typically don't have burst aside from Malygos combo, but Malygos combo will typically kill you anyway because it can do upwards of like 50 damage, so you can aggressively tap versus druid because your health total doesn't really matter.
Right. So I just keep tapping right now with the 2 drops that I have, or should I?
Yeah, so typically, especially if a deck doesn't develop a turn 1 play, on turn 2 you want to tap again, and then turn 3 you can tap and play a 2-drop, because you want to make the most out of getting your cards.
Right.
Is there any viability for giants and priests? It seems like a nice bounce target, and I have to have large hands due to holding on to combo pieces. I'm not quite sure what you mean by bounce target, but there have been decks a long time ago that ran giant and priest. It isn't something I've experimented with at all
So
since.
I'm thinking either the Vulgar or the Bladed Beetle. Is there a difference right now? Should I
So
keep Vulgar because I don't have my Spellstone? Or
yes.
should I just...
So first you want to tap because you might tap into Spellstone, and then typically you want to save those to proc your Spellstone.
Right. So the Beetle.
Yep. And then Druid runs Twig of the World Tree, so you want to be saving this ooze.
Right.
Revive archetypes. Oh, okay. I mean, if you're going to be playing Revive Priest, you're most likely playing Asmodee's List. Asmodee's List doesn't really have room for the Giants. If you're trying to find a different way to make that work, I think the Giant would be okay, especially since you can run Gilded Gargoyles and like Radiant as your only early game. It could have some merit, but I'm not sure.
And then, but then I have to play something.
That's okay. I would still be aggressively tapping, and then if you don't draw into anything, then you can just Vulgar.
Okay.
Ooh, this is good, because you're getting low to make that a 7/7. We're really hoping to draw into Geist, because Geist will remove his naturalizes, which means that your 7/7s and your Giants and your Twilight Drakes can't get naturalized.
Right.
We're also looking for Mossy Horror, because once you have Mossy, you can go super wide and then kill Spreading Plague tokens.
Right. So, thinking ahead, 5. I'm gonna have 10 in my hand.
Oh, okay.
So thinking Shroomber.
Yeah, basically your only play is to Shroom Brewer yourself. You can't tap to look for anything because your hand's full, and all your other cards have like much better uses.
Right.
The reason Priest doesn't run Giants right now is because it pollutes the pool for spell damage. Yeah, exactly. So in Asmodee's List, you don't pulling a Giant doesn't really do
So
much.
am I saving Spellbreaker for Malygos or something like that?
Spellbreaker, we're not sure what kind of druid he is yet, because he's only played like 2 cards. It could come in handy. It could also just be like, you could silence a Lich King to get through damage, stuff like that.
Right.
That's kind of the problem with druid right now, is it's like we're on turn 6 and we have no idea what he's actually playing.
Right. Okay. So
Let's see. Okay, so we have to save that. So now that we have that, we can go super wide, because his only answer to a wide board is Shredding Plague, and we now have the Mossy. So I would just develop a 6/5, and then in your coming turns, you can just play out a bunch of minions.
okay. Should I attack the scarabs though, right?
I'm okay with attacking with the Beetle. You want to keep the Vulgar at 4 health, because it means that he has to hero power and devote an attack if he wants to trade into it. If you would attack with it, he could just devote a hero power, and then that 1 damage can go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a good. See, that's something I would never have thought of, is hero power and the 1 attack.
Yeah. Little things, especially against Druid right now, you have to try and get every little edge, because they're like really, really strong.
Right.
Ooh, this is good for us that he's using one of these to draw, because it means that when he's spreading plagues, it's less likely that he uses the second one to give plus attack to avoid the Mossy Horror.
Right.
I would assume that he's Malygos. but we really don't have much to go off of because he's only played like the core druid cards.
Right.
All right, so what are you thinking?
Oh man, it's hard. You said I could go wide.
Yeah.
The mountain giant seems like tempting.
Okay. If we're going with the mountain giant line, then we have to remove enough cards from our hand in case we get naturalized. There's other ways to go wide that don't require us to play the giant because we're hoping to draw Geist relatively soon.
Okay, so maybe Vulgar.
I'm okay with going like we're at 10 cards, so we can go like Vulgar, Hooked Reaver as a 4/4, and then tap and try to get towards our Geist. It kind of wastes the value on you
Right.
know, it's really inefficient, but our line of play right now is that we can go wide and then kill with Mossy Horror. Okay. At least we redrew one of those. That's really good because it can become a 7/7. I would take that trade and then, yeah, I'm okay with hitting that. So this was an interesting line. Typically, like, you'd want to Impulse Giant, but we can't afford to get naturalized in mill cards. So
Yeah,
we're really heavily looking for that Skulking Geist.
right, right.
Okay, that's not that big a deal. Um, him running out of swipe on minions could be good for us. It also might be a tell that he's not Malagos, because typically he would save that for combo.
Right,
But we are Warlock, so we take a ton of damage anyway, so it's still not even really a tell of what he is,
right.
because he doesn't need the full combo to kill us. Okay, so that's a twig. That's good for us because we can get to kill that for free.
Should I kill it right now?
I typically wait because there's no way for them to remove more than one charge a turn, and right now, in their mind, they think that eventually they're going to have an extra 10 mana. If you wait until that has like 1 or 2 durability left, then it gives them less time to develop a new game plan, because they might play cards inefficiently knowing that they're going to have the extra 10 mana.
Right.
So we're at
Got it.
10 cards.
Yeah.
That means that we can't play Lich King because we're still looking for that Skulking Geist, and Lich King would fill our hand to full.
Right.
Um, I'm still okay with just going wide. We could
Yeah,
go
Beetle
like,
River.
yeah, like Beetle, Reaver, Tap seems okay to me. It feels really bad to play these Reavers out as not 7/7s, but I think it's what we need to do since we don't have Geist yet. Ooh, Dread Infernal is really good. I forgot that that's in this list. Oh, wait. The Vicious Syndicate list runs Skulking Geist, right?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay. Yeah, I would take this trade, by the way.
Okay. Well.
I was just making sure that we weren't trying to get an answer that we didn't actually have.
No, no, no. We have it. No, Skulking Guys is it's in. I got an 8% chance it's in my top deck.
Alright, cool. That would have been fun. Play the entire game thinking that we had something.
No, no, you're good. I would have told you. I'm not. I'm not great at the game, but I would have. I know what's Skulking. If I didn't have it. Yeah, I'm thinking you playing the Reavers is fine because if I get into Gul'dan, I can just play him.
Okay, so this is second
It'll
branching. That means that when he does eventually play Spreading Plague, he can't put them over
play
the edge
it.
of Mossy Horror.
Right.
And he just went for armor, which is really odd. Because we weren't putting on that much pressure, and he obviously doesn't have very many combo pieces, because otherwise he'd be going off. So
Right.
I would have been using that to draw, I think.
My turn is not.
I'm thinking next. I mean, obviously it depends what he does. I'm just thinking ahead. Putting out this Dread Infernal. Or this Twilight Drake, actually. No.
I
mean,
think
again,
I think that
going
we
wide.
go we go Twilight and then we tap trying to find that Skulking guy still. Because we can always just play out the Ooze if we need to.
Right.
Ooh. Okay,
I'm planning on playing that one too.
yep, I'd put that between the 4/10 and the 2/3. Cool.
Just stop in here, right? And then just
Yep. This is questionable because we could be playing the ooze just to put on more pressure. Typically, I think most players probably would. I think I overvalue like the mind games of that he might
yeah,
eventually have it.
yeah. He's planning to use it on the, he's gonna like ultimate infestation kind of thing. That
Yeah.
I've seen that definitely. So
So
he's like,
that's one thing. I'm not sure if this is actually correct or not, but it's always what I
no,
do.
right. I mean, it messes with his like game plan or whatever. He's thinking, oh, on my last durability, I can play this 10 whatever, and then this another 10.
Usually makes you in here when they are refreshing. Oh, okay. Sub in chat just said that he most likely. Oh, I forgot about this card. Okay, good. He got a 2/3. He most likely has an ultimate infestation in his hand since he branching for armor, so he doesn't need the extra draw. He's just working towards that ultimate.
Okay.
That was a good call, dude. Thanks. Oh wow. Okay. What you thinking here?
I mean, I still don't have Skulking Geist.
Yeah.
Thinking, I guess Shroom, maybe Dread Inferno. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I'm thinking Valley trade the Reaver to the Arcane Tyrant.
Okay.
Or maybe the Twilight trade because it'll live, and then maybe just go and face with the Reaver.
So there's a couple different lines of play we can go here. We can go for the more aggressive, which is we just hit face with both. Or we can go for the play that allows us to get a safer tap in. So we can either hit face with both and just play like Dread Infernal Shroom Brewer, or we can take a value trade with the Twilight into the Arcane Tyrant. We can heal it up with Shroom Brewer and then tap and see what happens.
Yeah.
So then we can tap. And now I would just play out the Spellbreaker because I still think that holding the ooze is good. And I would trade the 4/2 into the 3/3 to play around second mind control tech. So again, this play could have been slightly inefficient because we might want the Spellbreaker instead of the ooze, but I always keep the ooze until the last durability, which is questionable, but
No, I get what you're saying. And I do have a second Spellbreaker in my deck somewhere,
oh really? Okay, cool.
so I don't mind putting it out. That's bad.
I'm surprised he hasn't played a Naturalize yet because he could be holding it for Giants, or he could just like not have it.
Right.
Because he could have been milling us with it for a couple turns now, but
Right.
I think it's still best. It's the best line of play to wait. Okay, so this is ultimate, and then an Arcane Tyrant. It looks like.
Okay. So
Okay.
thinking some type of.
Death is eternal. My turn is not.
Okay, so now he has combo pieces because he's starting to actually hit. Nice, we found the Skulking. So I would run out the Skulking this turn probably, but let's see if there's anything we want to do before that. Our only real other option is to like, oh, we can just go Giant Skulking.
Right. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Giant and then Skulking.
Yep.
Giant first. Yeah.
In this instance, it doesn't matter the order because we have the extra mana floating. But yeah.
So I want to play around mind control. So I'm thinking go into the Arcane Tyrant with the Spellbreaker.
Yes, I like that.
And then, honestly, I'm thinking going face with.
I think we go face. We're on the pressure plan now because now that we removed double naturalize, our mountain giant is gonna stick.
Right.
Because his only removal piece is he has like a swipe and some moonfires. I would stop tapping at this point because we want to try to avoid Malagos damage.
Got it.
And then next turn we probably go like Lich King Ooze.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna hit with his weapon. So I'm thinking Ooze for sure next.
Oh, well that was a misplay. He randomly gave us a trade on a 2/3. I think he forgot.
Ooze Dread Inferno maybe? To get rid of the 5/1.
Ooh, that might be good too. Oh, that's a
Possible.
really good Dread Infernal for us.
Right, because then I can go Skulking Geist into the taunt.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so I like
So
that.
I'm thinking Dread Infernal and Ooze.
Yep.
Okay.
Because then
He
we get to
does
put
have
the
he
8.
does have another mind control type.
He might. Some lists only run 1. I still think that even with that, this has to be our play because it's so efficient.
Yeah.
Ooh, slight misplay. You wanted to play the Dread Infernal first because now you're gonna have a 3-1 instead of a 3-2.
Okay.
Masterful.
That might misplayed by me. Okay.
It's not a super big deal. It only matters if he somehow like clears our entire board. Basically, it's like inconsequential, but it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's something I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't think, but now I don't know.
Okay, so that's fine-ish.
Okay.
Right now we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage. Plus we have a Bone Mare for 4, so that's 19. So if he doesn't armor... Okay, we won.
So 12, 15.
We have
So
lethal with either Bone Mare
with
or double
Bone Mare.
Hellfire.
Right. So we have lethal now.
Yep. Sweet.
This was definitely a weird druid.
I think it was just a... It was most likely a Malagos Druid that just drew, like, pretty poorly.
Right.
Alright, so let's head into your collection really quick. We'll look at your list and then look at ways that we can potentially change it around. But yeah, so we can just jam a game or two of this, and then that's basically all we got to go over. You playing Evenlock, you know, it seemed like from the games that we did, you did all right. You seemed like you were you were picking up on what I was telling you pretty well. So
Yeah.
I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah, thanks. I think my biggest weakness of the game is just knowing the opponent. You know, like
Knowing what they're playing.
what they're playing, what might be in their hand, like what's their win condition, and how do I disrupt that? Like I know the meta, so like there's warrior, so I know he's probably gonna be auto warrior.
Yep.
So then, but my weakness is now how do I respond to that? Like what cards in my list are important against our warrior? That's my problem.
Okay. Well, I can give you kind of a blanket statement for this. First, I would get rid of this entire hand because it's all not very good.
Okay.
Against control decks, you typically want to look for Skulking Geist, Twilight Drake, Mountain Giant, and stuff like that. So the reason Skulking Geist is there is because the main 2 control decks are like Druid, which has Naturalizes, and Odd Warrior, which has Shield Slams. If possible, you want to save your Mountain Giants until after you Skulking Geist, because in the Druid matchup it means they can't get Naturalized, and in the Odd Warrior matchup it means they can't get Shield Slammed. Against both, I would typically keep Ooze, because they both play weapons that are pretty scary, because Super Collider is really, really strong against you.
Right.
And basically once you Skulking Geist, you just go hard with big demons, and then against Odd Warrior you don't go too wide, because they have both Reckless Flurry and Brawl. But against Druid, as long as you have Mossy Horror, you can go as wide as you want, and that's how you win.
So right now I'm being attacked.
Yeah, so again, against a board that didn't play anything turn 1 or turn 2, you would typically tap, and then on turn 3 you can go tap into a 2-drop. But pretty much almost every game, you're going to go tap, tap, and then 2-card tap.
Right.
But so yeah, in this matchup we're looking for Skulking Geist, Mountain Giant, Twilight Drake. You already found the Ooze, so that's pretty cool. And then we just have to worry about not going super wide, because they have 4 board clears. Alright, so you started with Coin, which means you actually can't tap here. So I would consider either coining a Twilight Drake and trying to bait out a Shield Slam, since we haven't found Geist, or just playing a Vulgar and passing. I kind of like the idea, even though it could get Shield Slammed, of going Coin Drake, because that removes 2 cards from your hand, which gives you more space to do more taps. There was stuff going on in chat. What's happening in chat? Oh, you guys are talking about formats. Yeah, there's some interesting formats. The most typical is best of 5.
I have to spell stuff too, which is good.
I think all the tournaments I do are best of
Yeah,
5.
there's
So
one.
yep. So there's a shield slam out. All right. So here you have 9 cards, so you can tap. Warrior has no way to overdraw you, so you never have to worry about that. And I would probably just play out a 2/4. Plus that upgrade just Spellstone, which I didn't even notice that we had, so that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Essentially against Odd Warrior, like they run one big game hunter in the standard list, which means that's a kill for one of your mountain giants. They also run Dr. Boom, which can give them a lot of value through his different hero powers, and then they run Azalina. So once you get later in the game, you want to try and empty your hand a little bit more, because it means they won't get as much Azalina value.
Okay.
Alright, so what do you think?
Azalina, remind me what Azalina does.
Oh, Azalina is a 7 mana 3/3 that gives him a copy of your hand.
Oh yeah, right. Got it. Okay, so I have 10 cards I can't tap, so I'm thinking just Shroom Brewing, I guess, or
I'm okay with just Shroom Brewing.
yeah, 'cause my other option is Hook Reaver, but I don't have the value with it.
Yeah, no, in this matchup, you want those to be 7/7s.
Yeah, so just Shroom Brewing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with just Shroom Brewer yourself and then hit face. It feels a little bad because obviously you're like counterintuitive to your 7/7 right now, but it's your only play. Ooh, this is good. Typically your Mossy Horror is not going to get a lot of value here, but you get to kill 2 minions with it, so I'm pretty happy about just jamming Mossy.
Alright, I'll see.
Yep. And then I would probably hit face just because the 5/3 doesn't really matter, but if you want, you can trade.
No, I like face. I like face.
That's something I didn't consider. That's potentially a play. Gul'dan sucks are gonna heal up anyway. That's true. That's interesting. I didn't even consider that. Okay, so this is a really good Spellbreaker target because it means that he's not gonna get the 6/9 into his deck.
Right. So Spellbreaker.
Yep. And then that leaves you with 9 cards in hand, but next turn you kind of want to play Lich King, so you want to remove another card from your hand, so I would just drop Vulgar. And then you want to put that, yeah, I would have put that to the right in case of Super Collider, because if he Super Collided and it was placed on the right, it would hit Mossy Horror and not die. Now if he Super Collides, it will die to the Spellbreaker.
Got it.
But yeah, face looks fine.
Face, yeah.
So this looks good. You'll draw to 9, play Lich King, go down to 8, and then get a Lich King card and go up to 9 cards again. So. Ooh, that's really good for you. I don't know why that was his play, but that's one of his best AoEs that he just completely wasted. Because that board was not threatening at all, and now you get a Lich King on a clear field. So that's not a particularly useful Lich King card, but that's okay. This could eat his second Shield Slam, which it feels a little bad because we lose the Lich King. Oh, an Owl, okay. That doesn't really matter. Okay. Alright, so what you thinking here?
Well, I'm definitely going to go face with the Lich King, but before that, let's see, I have 10 cards. I could Hellfire, I don't know if it's worth it. I could Sun Fury. I think that's the only thing I would do.
Yeah, so in this matchup, you're typically not going to get a lot of value out of Hellfire because they don't really play that many like low health minions, so I'm totally fine with just Hellfiring this board. And then you're at 9 cards, So your Lich King doesn't give you one, so you don't have to worry about that. Um, I'd be okay with tapping and then probably playing a Sun Fury after we see what we tap into.
Oh, I could play
Nice.
that right now.
I would pass on that because he can Super Collider and kill them both. But I
That was
would
super
I would
cool.
play Sun Fury for sure. This also might bait him into a really bad brawl, because if he doesn't have an answer to Lich King, he might have to go for the 50-50.
The 50-50 of Brawl.
Yeah, the 50-50 of Sun Fury winning the brawl. Okay, boom. Ooh, and he got Discover Mech. That's really, really good for him. So, basically we're looking for Geist and Twilight Drakes. Oh wow, his hand is full of mechs with Rush now. Alright. So, because his hand is full of mechs, we don't really want to try and go too wide on the board, because all of his stuff is, or like too big on the board, because all of his things are going to have Rush to kill our minions. Um, with that being said, we do have to play a card this turn, so I'm okay with just dropping Gen, because it doesn't really matter, and then hitting face. And then you want to play it to the right, because it plays around Super Collider. At least somewhat.
Yeah.
Because if he has Super Collider, he could go Zap Cannon the 2-3, and then Super Collider the Lich King, and kill both, but that means that he has to take 8 damage, and also waste mana on the Zap Cannon.
Yeah, I understand. Pass now.
Yeah. At this point, we're probably not going to be tapping too much, because we're just, the only card we're really looking for is Skulking Geist, but we're getting kind of low and we don't want to go into fatigue, so. Okay. Nice. That was a pretty good distribution for you, because it meant he had to trade 2 minions in. Alright, so. What we can consider doing is, if you want to drop Shroom Brewer, we kind of want to get those 7/7s, so I wouldn't. We can heal him because it does nothing. Which is a weird play, but it could be correct. But also, he has a ton of Rush. He still has, I think, 3 mechs with Rush, so it might just be worth healing our face, because if any of those stick, it might be kind of scary.
He has two. He has two mechs with Rush.
2? Okay.
At least 2, yeah, because he got 2 from his kid.
Okay. I think, like, the spicy play is to heal him, but I think just healing ourselves is fine, and then just playing a 4/4 and passing.
Okay, so play the Reaver too.
Oh no, just
just
actually
Reaver.
yeah, no, you have Blood Reaver Gul'dan in hand, so yeah, I'd play the 4/4 also. So just play Brewer and also Hooked.
And then the Reaver.
Yeah. We're getting down to it. I don't think you're gonna be able to get a 7/7 out of the Hooked Reaver because we healed up, and so just getting it there for the res pool is good for Gul'dan.
Right.
Ooh, okay, that's fine. You have a really good clear with your 2 4/4s on that. Okay, so he has 4 mechs.
No, he has 5.
Oh, I thought this came from. Oh, this was in his deck. What the hell? Okay. Alright, so I think that we do one more tap to look for Skulking Geist, and then after this tap, we're done tapping because we're getting close to fatigue.
Yeah.
Dang. So I would just take this trade because you don't want him magneticing onto that. And then I guess you can just waste a Sun Fury because you have nothing else to play. Cool. Yeah. Because we're saving. You have 2 giants left, one in your hand, one in your deck. So once you draw Skulking, those are going to be like really big threats. Dang. What does our Gul'dan bring back, by the way?
It'll be let's see, Vulgar, 2 Vulgars
2 Vulgars and a 4/4. Okay.
and a Reaver.
All right. So what do you think here?
Hmm. I mean, I don't know if we should be. Yeah, I don't see a lot of warriors.
I think that at this point, the only demons left in our deck are a 6/6 and a 4/4. I think we kind of just need to get the value out of Blood Reaver Gul'dan to start hero powering every turn. So I think we just drop Blood Reaver. Because dealing either 3 to his board or 3 to him every turn is going to stack up really fast.
Right. Yeah, the thing is, I don't know, like, because I know these are they're weak, but with magnetic.
Yeah, with magnetic, they're a little scary, but it's not that big a deal.
So he has 3 right now, 3 gifted.
Looks like he's just taking some trades, which is expected. If any of these 1/1s live, that's good because we can defile and use the bombs and the 1/1 against him. Ooh, that's scary. So
Spellstone.
Spellstone can't target that anymore. Oh, what is he doing? What? Why'd he hit that? Oh, I think my game just crashed. Oh, it's back. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we played around Defile by doing that. That was really weird, though. What we can do is... I think I like hitting the 4/1 into the 6/10, just because the 4/1's most likely going to die. To other random damage, so you want to get it, like the trade in there so that that's damaged. And then I like Argent and also hitting the 6/10, even though it doesn't kill it, because at least it sets it up to die to either Hellfire or Defile.
Got it.
And then you can Siphon Life the Goblin Bomb, so that you can't magnetic onto that to kill your 4/2.
And then pass the rest.
Yeah. I'm not sure what exactly is in our deck still, minion-wise, but both the Giant and the Ooze are good for us, so we want to save the Demonic Project for when we get like a shitty minion.
Right. In my deck, I would Beetle, Hellfire, Reaver, Spellbreaker.
Okay, so we're most likely going to try and turn that Beetle into a good demon. This is good for us though, because we get a clear on the 6/2 this turn. And we're still looking for that Geist.
Yeah.
Alright, so do you see what to do here?
You said clear. Maybe are we doing Spirit Bomb? Oh, are you talking about Defile? So Siphon the Taunt and then Defile?
Yep, that looks good to me.
Right.
And then at this point, we've been playing around it all game, so we might just want to keep playing around it. But he only has 1 Shield Slam left, so you might just want to drop a Giant for pressure. It's your choice. We can either hold it until we Skulking, and then try and push with 2, or we can just try and land 1. I think that landing 1 is good, though, because he hasn't used any Brawls. Yeah, so I like this, and then just passing. This has been a really tough game. Odd Warrior's a really, like, difficult matchup for you. Hey, that's not too bad. Nope, there's the Shield Slam. So he's out of those.
But he'll have a Brawl. Yeah, 2 Brawls, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they run 1 or 2. Oh, hi, Owl. Alright, so
Hmm.
I think I like trading in the 2/2 to the 4/10 just to get it off of our board for brawl purposes. I like playing Giant because he's out of Shield Slams, and I siphon his 2/1 because then his brawl is again a 50-50 if he goes for it.
I'm just passing.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would just pass. Hopefully he plays a weapon at some point so we can ooze. If he doesn't weapon within the next like 2 or 3 turns, we just have to Demonic Project and hope for a big demon. Okay, so this is really easy. You can just Spellstone that and then eat it with your hero power. There's our Geist, that's really good. But that's a big enough threat that you have to deal with it right now.
So, plus some hero power.
Yep.
And just skip the guys for now. And
Yeah.
just straight into the taunt.
Yep, sounds good to me. Because you still have a 8/4 that he has to deal with. He's used 2 Dynomatics. One of them might have been randomly generated, I'm not positive. Because that would be his best answer, but killing an 8/4 without execute is kind of hard, so hopefully he doesn't have an answer.
A lot of these.
Okay, so that's fine. We can just go like Skulking and Spellbreaker on that.
Skulking and Spellbreaker.
Yeah. So Skulking didn't hit anything because we played into his Shield Slam, which is kind of unlucky, but
Yeah. It puts out a 4/6 on it.
yeah, it's still a body. He hard runs double Skater Bot. What the hell? I mean, it's kind of interesting. It might not be awful. It's just not standard at all. Ooh, that's really bad. Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, he took a trade. Oh, is he taking a double trade? Oh, okay, that was stupid. He should not have done that, I don't think.
So second life to 7/3.
I mean,
Or I can Hellfire and then upgrade the Spellstone.
I kind of like I would start with Demonic Project and see if you get a good demon. Because at this point, like, you're never going to really have more than 1 minion on board, so the ooze for Super Collider doesn't matter. And then your 4/4 is pretty bad, so hopefully we get it into something better.
Well, he got hit through.
Okay, that's fine. So this guy we can buff up with both Spirit Bomb and Hellfire. So I think this turn I would just hero power his 7/3 and pass. Because whenever we want, we can go Hellfire, Spirit Bomb, and then play this Nether Soul Buster as a really big dude. Because that'll be, what, 3 plus 4, that's 7. It'll be an 8/5. Oh, I forgot he had a pack. Oof.
Wow.
Ooh, that's really bad. What's the last card in our deck?
Twilight Drake.
Oh, okay, that's really good. So we can't Doom Pact this because we want to get Twilight Drake. This turn, I think I would just siphon the 6/8 to make it go to lower its health, and then like play a Beetle and pass and see what happens. I think at this point, like, our Geist was so low in our deck that we weren't able to put on pressure with Giants, and he got Boom really early, so he got lots of extra value out of that. I think that we just lost.
No, that's yeah.
I don't think that there was a lot we could have done in this game, though.
Oh, that's fine.
It happens sometimes.
You're right.
Right, so now that we're out of cards, we can just Doom Pact and it won't matter. So it'll get rid of his big 7/10. And then I would just siphon that guy and pass for this turn. Ooh, okay, we have one really weird out, I think.
Okay.
So, we try to get the board state to be, like, pretty much clear or clear enough to die to Hellfire Spirit Bomb. We wait until we take a ton of fatigue damage, because the fatigue is going to count towards our Nether Soul Buster, so we can go Hellfire, Spirit Bomb, clear the board, take fatigue damage, play a really big Nether Soul Buster, and hope that it survives to hit him in the face. But now that he played a 5/11, I don't think that's going to work. Alright, so 3, 6, that puts that down to 5, which we can kill with spells. Oh, okay. So this turn, oh no, that doesn't work. Yeah, it does. So this turn you're going to want to Hellfire, because it'll kill a 2/3 and a 3/3. You're going to siphon the Tarlord to put it down to a 5/5. And then we're just going to play the Twilight Drake out by itself. So our play is that hopefully he has, like, no real minions. We get the board to a board state where we can kill it with Spirit Bomb and Amethyst Spellstone. We take a really large fatigue hit, and then, oh shit. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. If we can do this. If we Spirit Bomb to make that a 5/1, we can then Defile and Spellstone the Swamp King Dread and push 4 face damage.
Spirit Bomb the taunt.
Yep.
And then Defile.
And then Defile. Oh, we should have Defiled first, but that's okay. Spellstone, and then you push 4 face, and then you hit him with your hero power also. Dang. Alright, I think it's over now. Yeah. We're out of answers. Unlucky.
Okay.
I think we played that game really, really well though. It just you know, sometimes it doesn't pan out.
No, I mean, Odd Warrior to me, Odd Warrior or any kind of big control is the hardest for me to figure out because all my win conditions is like mid-range.
Yeah, Odd Warrior's a really, really hard matchup for Even Warlock. I think, you know, we should do another game, try and get a somewhat, like, closer matchup, and then we can probably, you know, call it after that.
Sure.
I think what I'm going to end up doing, though, is I might go back into this video and look at that match and try and, like, analyze it and see if we could have done anything, like, different. What I wish is that, I wish there was a way to see what his hand was the entire game. Because then, going back...
My screen? I thought it was screen sharing. Because if you see my screen, I have tracker on.
Oh, I didn't know you were screen sharing. I was just using the in-game client. Okay, cool.
Why don't you screen share right now? I think I'm screen sharing.
Yeah, you are. I just didn't realize.
Yeah, it's okay. Let me get that.
What's it called? Do you have that linked to like an HS replay account?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. After this match, can you give me the link to the replay of the last match?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're against Warlock, so that's most likely either Even Warlock, Zoo, or Q Block. Our deck is not teched to beat the mirror, because we don't have Doomsayers. So that means that our second best card in the mirror is Demonic Project to try and snipe their giant. So I think this hand is entirely fine. Because against Zoo, we have a Vulgar and a Twilight Drake, which is pretty good. And against the mirror, we can try and snipe his giant with a Demonic Project. Okay, so he's not even. So hopefully he's Zoo, and we have lots of early draws.
Non-giant has to be pretty good against you, right?
What's it called? I'm not really paying attention to what you guys are saying. You guys are having your own conversation, but I think that if you're looking for a good cheap list, Odd Rogue is probably your best bet. Odd Paladin has more staying power though, so you might want to craft Odd Paladin, but I think it's overall weaker than Odd Rogue. Again, a 2/1 isn't particularly threatening, so I always like going tap and then on turn 3 going tap 2-drop.
Yeah, I figured.
It was worth considering playing like a Beetle or something, just because we know that he's gonna be like semi-aggro. Yeah, he's Zoo.
Zoo, yeah.
So it might have been worth dropping it, but I still think that this was pretty good, because this turn you can tap and play a taunt minion, and that'll hopefully take 2 minions to kill.
Plays Vulgar, yeah.
Yeah. So this hopefully takes 2 minions to trade, and then next turn you can play an 8/8, and then the turn after that you can play a 7/7 with taunt, because he's going to push face damage.
Right.
The worst thing for you is if he Soulfires this. Which he found off the top, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, he got rid of Ghoul though, that's good. Oh, okay. So that's probably going to be a doubling imp.
Or doubling, yeah.
So, shit.
Okay, we'll have the Reaver.
6, 7, 8. He already used a Soulfire. So, and he doesn't have mana for Doomguard. I think playing the 7/7's okay, but I think right now your best play might be playing the 8/8, and then next turn playing the 7/7, because then your 8/8 will be able to trade with something. Him getting that Soulfire off the top like really was bad for us.
Right.
And then we didn't mulligan super hard for Zoo, because typically we want to find Defile or Hellfire. So I guess our mulligan was like kind of greedy.
Right.
And that's what Zoo decks and aggro decks like kind of prey upon, is that you just don't draw your answers. Because at this point we play a Hooked Reaver, we trade, and then we die. So.
Right.
Damn. So that brings up a good point. In mulligans, when you're against a class that has like very varied archetypes, so Even Warlock is like the very opposite of Zoo. We kept that Demonic Project and that Twilight Drake in case it was Even Warlock, which was really bad. We should have actually just hard mulliganed for Zoo, because we can beat Even Warlock. Like, we can beat a control deck if our hand is worse. But if our hand is like so bad that we can't beat Zoo, we just die to Zoo, which is what happened this game.
Right. That means
So,
over.
Yeah, it's over. Because you trade into a 4/4, he goes 4/3, and then pushes his face for 5. But, that's a good, like, it wasn't something I thought of, even though it was something I should have thought of. If you're against a deck, or a class that has multiple archetypes that are very varied, it's important to mulligan for the one that can kill you fastest.
Right.
So that went really fast. If you want to play like one more, we can do that and then call it a night.
Okay, let's do one more, just because that was pretty fast.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Have a good one, sub. But yeah, let's do like one more, and then we can call it a night. And then if you wouldn't mind getting me that Odd Warrior replay, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I will. Okay, so I'm thinking it's Odd Warrior or Tempo. Sorry, not Warrior. Rogue. Odd Rogue or Tempo Rogue.
All right, so we're gonna assume it's Odd Rogue. We already found the Spirit Bomb. That's really good. Mountain Giant is not really good against Rogue because they have Vile Spine, so you want to try and find more of your early game. Keeping Spellbreaker is very questionable, but it can be good if they go for Edwin or an early Cold Blood, so I'm okay with keeping that, and then Twilight Drake I would get rid of. So now we're nice. Vulgar's really good. Gen's pretty bad, but Vulgar is really good.
We have turned our curse into our strength.
Ooh, it's not Odd Rogue. Oh, and we found a
Tempo.
giant. Nice.
So,
So-
Tempo Rogue is not Odd Rogue. They're different, right?
Yeah, so Tempo Rogue is typically like a Keliseth aggro rogue,
Right.
and then Odd Rogue is odd. It looks like we might be against either like a Miracle Rogue or like a Test Rogue. But either way, we're going for a turn 3 giant and then a turn 4 giant.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's gonna have to put out some Vile. He's gonna have both Vile Spines out in his hand if he wants to kind of get rid of it.
Yep.
How much does Vile Spine cost? 5?
5. So we have
Yeah.
coin, so he doesn't have it for at least 2 turns. Nice. So we go giant into giant, and then hopefully we just win. Eviscerate? SI, okay, that's fine.
Same thing. Thinking tap Giant.
Yeah, or
and go
well,
face.
we just
Oh, we got 10.
so we can either drop another giant or we can heal up the giant that we have. I think I would typically heal our giant, but playing a second giant is also really good. So I'm like 50-50 on both. I think that the giant play is probably better.
I'm gonna say because he's got 5 mana.
Yeah, he only has 5 mana open, so I think I would just drop second giant and then hit face.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Vile Spine. He's gotta have searching for something.
Okay, this is fine.
So I'm thinking something to protect the giant, maybe.
So giant most likely dies to Vile Spine, if anything. So I think just developing the largest threat that we can is important. The largest threat in our hand is either Twilight or Coin Gen.
I like Twilight.
I like Twilight. Yeah, so we were against Test Rogue. We've pretty much already won because he's going to be at, what, 6 health?
Yeah,
So-
Hellfire.
Cool.
2 health.
We probably just play again and then hit him face and then win next turn.
This curse has become our
They're slow rogue decks. They technically are. They're not very competitive. Miracle Rogue is kind of a thing, but it kind of fell out of favor because it dies to aggro rogues. And
Oh, two
then
quick matches.
Test Rogue is a deck that exists but is not competitive. Cool. Turns out double giant when they have no removal is really good.
Yeah, I was thinking because even if they have 5 mana,
Even if they had Vile Spine, you still just put on so much pressure with double
Yeah.
giant.
well, yeah, I mean, even with the 5 mana, you had 0 mana cards and you get things.
Alright. I think that we did pretty good. You know, our games were played really well. I think that the only game that we misplayed was the Zoo match because we didn't mulligan correctly. That's like the main takeaway aside from like, you know, deciding what we played in the other matches and like different play patterns. It's really important whenever you're playing any deck that if you're against something that has different archetypes to mulligan for the one that can kill you over the one that, you know, gives you a little bit more time.
Right? That
But
makes
yeah.
sense.
Um, I think that we can call that pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Learned a lot.
Yeah, for sure. No
Yeah,
worries,
like I
man.
said, I feel like I'm
Uh,
getting the hang of it. Just have to practice my opponent, knowing what their removals are.
yeah, trying to memorize deck lists so that you know what you're going against. Also, with Even Warlock, one of the most important things that can be tricky is trying to set up defile clears. Um, Especially when you first start the deck, it can seem overwhelming. Um, and as dumb as it's gonna sound, basically you just have to count. So if you count just 1, 2, 3, 4, and move your cursor over everything so you confirm with your brain where everything is, um,
Right,
that's the best way to make sure that you don't mess up your math.
right.
And
No, that
then
helps for sure.
again, I'm not sure if it's correct. When you have a choice on turn two between playing a two drop or tapping and then playing the same two drop and a tap on turn three, I almost always go for the turn three play. Um, so if you want to experiment differently, that's cool. But I think that will give you the best results typically.
All right, that helps a lot. Yeah, that's it. I always wonder, especially with if you have coin or not. Because
Yeah,
that changes from turn three giant to turn four, which is kind of a big deal. I mean, the whole thing.
yeah.
So
With coin, especially if you don't already have a giant in hand, then you can afford to play a two drop on two, just because you're gonna make up for that card slot for your giant by tapping and already having the coin.
right.
That's the only time when that rule kind of changes.
Okay, good to know. Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. We're gonna call it there then. And
Yep.
if you stick around the Discord, we're gonna be having different streams with other people. We're always here to help if you message. Um, there's the general chat for just random stuff. If you want to have some more people look into your list, I would definitely suggest I think it's just called deck list channel. That's where a lot of the other people in the channels actually text chat. Lots of
Right.
people
Right.
kind of ignore general.
Right. Yeah. No, you're good. I'll send you some messages later with some
Awesome.
questions. But uh, thanks. Appreciate it again. Thank
Yep,
you.
for sure. All right. Have a good one, man.
All right. You too. See ya.
See you. See you. All right. So we're gonna call that for the stream. Before we do, I'll check if there was anything in here. There wasn't anything new since the rogue deck, so yeah. Um, I think that went pretty well, and we had a couple random viewers come in, which is pretty cool, and we actually had a chat going on. So we're slowly growing. Hopefully, we keep growing, and yeah. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Have a good one.